Hello in 2018. Today I came back from the holiday time. We were more than almost 2 weeks out of our home. It's good to be back. It's good to be in the home office, and it's good to have new followers or new friends on my vlog here. Many people came here from my webinar which I did with Maciej Niserowicz. So hello everyone. I hope you like this place, and today's topic will be presented very soon. Let's first start with the books. This is a gift I received for the Christmas. It's called Kult Biała Księga. Kult is a Polish band. It's like a cult band. They've recorded like 300 songs. They're one of my favorite bands, together with their leader, Kazik Staszewski. If you're not from Poland, you don't know them, but it's good to know that in Poland is this amazing phenomenon of cult. And I've read this book. You know, this is huge right now. I've read this book when it was like one of the first editions. Now it's a much bigger one, better illustrated and so on. So happy to see how their minds work. That's what I like to read such books. Happy to see, they are creative people, they're creators, and they proved with, over 30 years on the stage that they can live with their vision for a long time, still create, still be popular, still deliver a lot of value. So that's one inspiration for today. This book is called Three Bodies Problem. It's actually a funny story how I ended up buying this book, because one of our Slack conversation at Arkency, I was discussing something on some high level with Robert, and I said something like, if the aliens come from a different civilization, then probably it will be that not the humanity, our world will not actually be united, that there will be fractions. One of them will be splitted and trying to help the enemies and so on. That will be much complicated than we think. And Robert told me just one thing. So you want to read this book because this is exactly about what happens when we know that there is an enemy civilization coming. And immediately after reading this book during the Christmas time, I bought the second part because it's a trilogy. Again, amazing thing about this book is that the world is huge. The vision of the author, which I'm not even able to, I really need to educate myself better in Chinese names and Chinese culture, because I'm not able to read it. But the number of things, the number of theories, hypotheses that were put into this book, into the story, is just amazing. And I don't like all of the details, like some of them really are shaky in the narration. But overall, the big world that this writer built is amazing. And this is an inspiration to me, that you can create big vision in your head and then try to translate your vision to other people, communicate your vision, communicate what you think about a specific topic, like for example with the aliens, in a way that people probably mostly understand. This is a topic that is very difficult to me, because sometimes I like to have a vision, but it's so hard to communicate that sometimes I even give up on the vision because I'm just not able to transfer what I think about it. Let's see how it goes. Another book, which was a recommendation also from Arkency, from Szymon this time, was Your Competent Child. I'm a father of 2 kids, 2 sons, and being a parent is more interesting than I thought years ago. I think everyone, before becoming a parent, you think you know what will be going on, but then you become a parent and it's much more complicated. So I'm not sure if this book is good, but I like reading about parenting because it helps me understand different points of views and try to create my own based on that, and based on my kids, which both are very unique. It's very hard to find a balance, like whether you want to be a strong parent, very conservative, or liberal, or whatever label you like for saying that you may let your kid do more things, or you maybe want to create more rules. It's difficult to do something. And it's kind of connected to my topic for today, because when you're a parent, you may have your vision about something, but then you are met with other people whom you are helping with creating their world, and it's now up to you, and at some point it's up to them how much you can contribute and how much you can be involved in that. So the topic for today is how I'm creating a vision, I'm shaping a vision. From my perspective, from my subjective point of view, you will see one way of thinking around a vision. But before I go into more details, let me show how it started this time. And even before that, it's an important thing to say, one important moment of my life, or maybe it was a process, which helped me understand a very simple thing, but in another way, a very difficult thing. I used to think about myself as just a normal programmer. I'm an introvert, I'm a programmer, give me the specification, I will give you great quality code, and I care about this code a lot. And the software I will create is gonna work very well, and I will put a very big effort into making it work well. And I hope it's still true, but one implicit assumption in my mind was that I'm not created for creating new visions. This is somewhere else. Someone else is creating a vision, somehow communicates it down to a format of specification so that I'm able to translate it into a computer program. In a way, I assumed this is never going to be my job to create a vision, and I don't think I ever dreamt about it. And just to make the story shorter, now I do think that I am okay, that I'm allowed to think about visions, I'm allowed to create new visions, I'm allowed to shape those visions, I'm allowed to communicate those visions. It's totally okay, and I still can be fine as a programmer. No one will tell me that I'm not a programmer. In a way, the situation probably forced me to be it. I started a company, and I didn't probably think about all the consequences of that. And the vision is quite helpful for companies. So that's like one part of why I'm focusing on visions today. Okay, so this specific vision I want to talk about is, I think it would be a nice example if I can share with you how, or document with you how a vision starts. Maybe this vision will never happen in any real shape. So maybe we will see many of such situations that a vision is created in my head, but never goes into practice for whatever reason, and maybe for a good reason. And this time I have connected several dots. So in my case, visions are created from ideas. I like collecting ideas. I like collecting points of views, put them in my head, let them roll in the head, and then suddenly they connect to each other. So very often ideas come from books, like science fiction books. I'm really into science fiction because I really like to think about the future, so they inspire me a lot. But also it's about the past, but from people who create stuff, so the Cult Band and Kazik Staszewski. It's inspiring to see their stories and see how it happens. In my case, also the dots are that I have run a webinar last month in December, and this webinar was called "Is Ruby Dead in 2018?" Not the very best title, but it did gather like 200 people. 280 people registered, about 150 attended. So I noticed that I did trigger something interesting here. So that was the one idea, that it seems to be an interesting thing to talk about the future of Ruby. And for those of you who don't know, Ruby is this programming language which I love, which I think is for my subjective needs, for our company needs, for large parts of the industry, in my opinion, Ruby is really the best choice, especially for web development, for backend development. So the webinar was one thing. Then many of you came here from a YouTube live, which was done with me and Maciej Nicerowicz. Maciej Nicerowicz is one of those famous programmers in Poland, and he gathers many people around him. He built a community of people around him, and we were together in Białystok, and we were talking for almost 3 hours about programming, and many people were watching this, and this YouTube videos has several thousands of views so far. And also in there, I started advertising Ruby more. I started to be more brave about it, and it did work for me that I said that if you want to talk more about some specific things which I mentioned during this YouTube video, then please come to my Snapchat and I will reply in there. And many people, actually over 50 people, arrived to my Snapchat, and I started having many interesting conversations about Ruby, which let me understand people outside of Ruby, what they think about Ruby. And this was like another set of ideas, how people choose technology. So many people are close to choose Java or JavaScript or Python or PHP. And it's okay, I don't want to say this is wrong, but hearing or seeing their reasoning was something, created some new ideas in my mind, what's the way of thinking and what they're basing their decisions on. So those several things together, the webinar, the YouTube live, overall my experiences with Ruby so far, me being a teacher of Ruby for a long time, this started to create something which I'm now shaping as a vision.